We've reached lesson 9 in our series. In the last couple of lessons, we've looked at how opener can open the bidding with one of a suit and how their partner might respond. Now we're going to look at a really key part of the auction, which is the next bid by opener, their rebid. This is a key step in the auction and helps opener to define their hand much more clearly to their partner. There's going to be several lessons on this subject. This week we'll look firstly at what happens when opener has got a slightly weaker hand. Next week we'll look at what happens when opener's got a much stronger hand and they're making a rebid. And then we'll also look in lesson 11 at how opener would respond if they've got a balanced hand and need to make a rebid. For those of you following the course through the book Beginning Bridge Book 1, you'll find pages 36 to 39 cover most of the material that this week's lesson is about. So I do refer you to that book. Have a good look at that. It might help you understand this subject. The situation that we're going to look at in today's lesson and also in the next couple of lessons is the following. Opener here south has opened one of a suit, either one club, one diamond, one heart, or one spade. Their partner, responder, has responded in a different suit, either at the 1 or at the 2 level. They'd be using the guidelines that we covered in lesson 8, the last lesson that we covered, and that will explain how they can choose those particular bids. Now remember, if responder responds in a different suit, opener is forced to bid again. So the situation we're particularly interested in now is how does opener bid again? What are their choices and what govern those particular choices? So firstly, the most important thing in this situation is always, if responder has responded in a major suit and opener has actually got support for that. So if you've got 4-card support for a suit that's been responded by your partner, a major suit, then you have an 8-card fit in that major suit and you must support that. And we'll look at examples of how to do that and see where that takes us in the auction. Sometimes opener will have a balanced hand. They would have been too strong to have opened no trumps, so they would have opened one of a suit. And now with a balanced hand, they're going to make their rebid in no trumps. Now we're going to cover all of that in lesson 11. So we're going to park that subject for now and concentrate on the situation where opener doesn't have a balanced hand. When opener doesn't have a balanced hand, they're unbalanced. Normally their choices are something along the lines of either bidding another 4 or more card suit. That's to show partner a lot more about the shape of their hand. Give them a choice by bidding another suit. We'll look at some choices there, and there are some restrictions on the choices that you can make depending on the strength of your hand. You might well be able to support a minor suit that your partner's bid. Again, that tells partner a lot about the shape of your hand and might help them deduce the best final contract. And lastly, you might just simply have to rebid the suit that you've opened, and that would always show at least 5 or more cards. Now we'll delve into those options in a little bit more detail so that they become clearer on the next few slides. With all unbalanced hands, opener's rebid is going to depend upon 2 things. Firstly, it's going to depend upon how strong opener is. Now remember that an opening bid at the 1 level could be made on a hand with perhaps 12 or even 11 high card points, up to possibly 19 or sometimes even more. That's a pretty wide range of hand strengths. So we normally treat any opening hand with 16 or more high card points as a strong hand. And anything that's got below 15 high card points we treat as a weaker type of opening hand. Weaker opening hands leave opener with fewer possible choices of rebid. They need to be careful not to push the bidding too high. But with stronger opening hands, we have fewer restrictions. An opener can often show the additional strength of their hand. We'll look at opener's rebid with stronger types of unbalanced hands in lesson 10. But for now, we're going to concentrate on hands with fewer than 16 high card points. These weaker types of opening opening hands, where we have perhaps fewer choices of rebid available to us. The other thing that our rebid is going to depend upon is the exact shape of our hand. Now we know that you're unbalanced, but do you have 1 long suit, or do you have another suit that you can bid? Point I'm going to stress again and again is that if responder has bid a major suit, an opener has got support for that major suit, then there will be an 8-card fit. Once you've got an 8-card trump fit in a major suit, a large part of the goal of the auction has been achieved. So now what we have to do is support that major suit. Now with a weaker type of opening hand, i.e. less than 16 high card points, we simply raise responder's major suit to the next available level. So let's have a look at some examples where that might be applied. Firstly, here's hand number 1, okay? 13 high card points, we don't have a balanced hand. Our longest suit is clubs, so we would open 1 club. Here's the east hand, 7 high card points, not a particularly strong hand, but here the right response on the east hand is to bid the major suit here that they've got, which is spades. They can show 4 cards in spades and at least 6 high card points by responding 1 spade. Now, West actually likes spades. As well as having 5 cards in clubs, they've also got 4 cards in spades. So we have an 8-card fit now in the spade suit. We have an 8-card fit in a major suit. So our priority is to show that and simply support spades. But because we have a weaker type of opening hand, we've opened the bidding, but we've got less than 16 high card points. All we can simply do is raise spades to the next available level, which would be to bid spades at the 2 level. So we bid 2 spades. East is quite weak, and they know now that West has limited their hand to probably less than 16 high card points. It's very, very unlikely there's a game contract available here, and so the best thing East can do now is simply to pass, and the contract will be 2 spades. In another example, with this hand, West has got 14 high card points. They've got 5 cards in spades. So their longest suit is spades. They're unbalanced. They must open 1 spade. Here's the east hand, 13 high card points and 5 cards in hearts. They'd like to show their heart suit here, and they can. They've got 5 of them, so they can respond 2 hearts. When you're going to respond 2 hearts to a bid of 1 spade, you need 2 things. You need to have 5 cards in the heart suit. We covered this last week in lesson 8. And you must have a hand strong enough to bid at the 2 level, which means normally around 10 or more high card points. Both those criteria are met here, so East can confidently bid 2 hearts, and it describes their hand quite well. Now, it's really important from West's point of view that they understand that East has got 5 hearts. Okay, their bid of 2 hearts promises 5, guarantees at least 5 cards in the heart suit. So now West knows there is a fit in hearts because East has got at least 5 and West has got 3. So West is happy to support hearts. We have a fit in a major suit. So our priority as West now is simply to raise hearts. Okay, and with a weaker type of opening hand, we've only got 14 high card points here. We simply raise hearts to the next available level, which is to raise it to 3 hearts. East now knows a lot more about West hands. They know that they like hearts and we have a fit in hearts. And also West had a hand strong enough to open the bidding. They've not got a particularly strong hand, but they've got a hand strong enough to open the bidding. And so now an opening hand with West plus 13 high card points in your hand, there must certainly be a game contract available. So we must now raise the hearts to 4 hearts to make to play in a game level contract. So 4 hearts would be the final contract here, and that's a very good contract. As we saw on slide 3, when opener has less than about 16 high card points, they should generally aim to treat their hand as a weaker type of opening hand, and that means they would then look to rebid at the lowest level. Now, in situations where you cannot support a major suit that's been bid by responder, you should ideally now look to bid another suit. That's normally our best option. You need to hold 4 or more cards in the suit to bid it, and this tells partner a great deal about the shape of your hand, and it gives them a choice of possible suits. But we need to take care. With a weaker type of opening hand, we can only do that if the second suit that we've bid is lower ranked than the first suit that we bid. So here's an example. We've opened the bidding with one heart, partner's responded one spade, and our rebid is two diamonds. We can do that with a weaker type of opening hand because diamonds is a lower ranked suit than hearts. Our bid now tells partner a great deal about our hand though. They know that we've got at least four diamonds, and because we chose to open the bidding with one heart, we must have more hearts. So we've got at least five hearts and at least four diamonds, and we're showing an unbalanced hand because we bid two suits here. Alternatively, and our next best option, if responder has bid a minor suit, we can simply raise that minor suit to the next level if we had four card support. This shows that we are likely to have five cards in the suit that we chose to open and four cards in partner's minor suit. So again, we've described at least 9 of the cards in our hand. We've shown partner a lot about the shape of our hand and given them some choices. And lastly, here's an example of that. So we open here with one heart. Partners responded two clubs. If we had four card support for clubs, we could now bid three clubs, raise the minor suit, and that shows partner that we have got at least four cards in clubs, and therefore because we chose to open hearts, we must be longer in hearts, and therefore we must have 5 or more hearts. So we've told partner a great deal about the shape of our hand. We've shown them that we're at least 5 cards in hearts and 4 cards in clubs. Sometimes you don't have a second suit that you can either bid or support one of partner's suits, and in that situation, maybe your only possible option is to rebid your suit at the next lowest level. Okay, this guarantees that you must have at least 5 cards in your suit. Otherwise, you would have found a different bid, either as an opening bid or as a rebid. It normally shows an unbalanced hand and suggests you've got less than 16 high card points. Again, if you have more than 16 high card points, you may well have found a different rebid here. So here's an example. We've opened one heart, partner's bid a spade. If we were to bid 2 hearts now, our hand, we're telling partner that we haven't got another suit that we can show them and that we've got at least 5 or more cards in the heart suit. We're also suggesting that our hand isn't particularly strong. It's quite likely that we're lower than 16 high card points, and we're just showing 5 or more hearts here. Just looking again at that first option we covered on this page about bidding a new suit. Why must this suit be lower ranking than the suit we opened? Well, that's all to do with the principle of something called the barrier, which we're going to look at on the next slide. Now let's look at this principle that we've said that you have to, with a weaker type hand, you can only rebid with a lower ranked suit. Now that's all to do with this principle of the opener's safety barrier. The principle of the barrier is often difficult to grasp, but it's simply a guideline that stops you from unwittingly forcing the bidding to too high a level. Think of it that as opener, whenever you open one of a suit, you've automatically created an artificial barrier at 2 of that suit. If opener next bids a new suit above the level of the barrier, they would require to have a strong type of opening hand, normally 16 or more high card points. So let's look at an example here. Let's imagine that our opener's first bid is 1 diamond. That automatically creates a safety barrier in their mind of 2 diamonds. Any rebid above the level of 2 diamonds, any new suit that they rebid above the level of 2 diamonds would show that they've got a strong hand. They'd need to have at least 16 high card points to be able to rebid 2 hearts or 2 spades as new suits. Of course, they're perfectly at liberty to support those suits if partners bid them, but if they were to bid them as new suits on their own, that would be bidding above the level of the barrier, and it would require a stronger hand to do so. So here's an example here. Again, we've got a weaker type of hand here. We've got 15 high card points, we've got 5 diamonds and 4 clubs. So we would open 1 diamond. partner responds one spade. We're unbalanced, so we can't unfortunately respond in no trumps, but we are able to show our second suit. We can bid 2 clubs. Our second suit is below the barrier. Our barrier would be 2 diamonds here. We've opened 1 diamond. Our barrier would be 2 diamonds, but by bidding below the level of 2 diamonds, we are allowed to do that, because even though we've got a weaker hand, that's fine. If we were to bid above the level of 1 diamond, if we had a different shape of hand, we would need a stronger hand to do that. Now, you'll come across some bridge books and bridge teachers and videos that will call this the principle of the reverse. So that's quite an old-fashioned term, but you will come across this a lot. People talk about reversing. That's not a very helpful term. It's often easier to think of this as just simply a barrier. But in some bridge books, bidding above the level of the barrier is called reversing. But I don't think that's a particularly helpful term for our learning journey. That's the end of part 1. Join me in part 2. We're going to have a look now at just a couple of examples about some of openers' rebids, and then how the auction continues after there, how a responder chooses the final contract. So join me in part 2 and we'll look at those. Thank you.